Good morning, students. Today we are going to see a poem which is very relevant and apt to the present scenario, that is the lockdown scenario. Okay, so many memes, many criticisms you might have seen in WhatsApp and social medias. One such meme that touched me and made me to think, that is, human beings are imprisoned and animals are looking at us as an object of show. And it made me to think how the animals in the zoo would feel, how it would feel when we visit them. Will it be happy? So let's see in the poem A Tiger in the Zoo by Leslie Norris. A Tiger in the Zoo by Leslie Norris. Leslie Norris was a famous Welsh poet and short story writer. And he was born in 1921 in Wales, and he was very much interested in the poem of Dylan Thomas, and he died in 2006. So, as we all know that tiger is our national animal and the tiger is a proud creature. So today in the poem we are going to see about a comparison between a tiger in the zoo and a tiger in its natural habitat. Let's move on to the stanza 1. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. So, the tiger is the dweller of the forest, but we force the tiger and we put it in a cage. And the tiger is caged in a zoo. And look at the first line. He stalks in his vivid stripes. Stalks means moving quietly. So the tiger moves quietly inside the cage. The few steps of his cage, only he could walk a few steps, isn't it? The cage would not be too big. So he could walk only a few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet. Pads, the soft pot under the foot of the tiger. So with its soft pad, he is walking quietly inside the cage in his quiet rage. Rage means anger. The tiger has anger in itself because it was imprisoned, it was caged in a zoo. But he doesn't outshone its anger like human beings. We people, whenever we get angry, immediately will shout, isn't it? But this tiger, it buried all its anger in itself and it walked quietly inside the cage. So the poet wants to show the pathetic condition of a tiger in the zoo. So the tiger doesn't relish the stares of the onlookers in the zoo. His rage or anger is suppressed. Though the tiger has anger, it was suppressed there. So the first stanza is about the tiger in the zoo. The cage tiger is angry and he is full of rage, but it's quiet because he knows very well that he is helpless there. There is no one to help the tiger in the zoo. So next we are going to see the stanza 2. The stanza 2 is about the tiger in its natural habitat. The tiger in its natural habitat. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. He should be lurking. Lurking means hiding. The tiger hiding and sliding through long grass, okay, and it slide in the sense moving, okay, it moves through the long grass. Why it's moving through the long grass and it's hiding itself? Because it is waiting for its prey. It is waiting to attack its prey, waiting to hunt its prey. So it hides itself inside the long grass where plump deer pass. Plump in the sense chubby, okay. So it hides itself to hunt the plump deer. Maybe it seems to be a cruel thing, okay. Hunting the deer, it seems to be a cruel thing for us. But we all know that in order to maintain the balance in the food chain, it is necessary, isn't it? And the tiger hunts the deer for its prey, not for pleasure like human beings, isn't it? We people hunt tiger, we people hunt elephants, isn't it? In order to get the precious things, but not like human beings, okay. The tiger doesn't hunt for pleasure but for its prey, okay. So now look at the third stanza. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. So he should be snarling in the sense making an angry and warning sound, okay. So the tiger is making such a sound at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs. In the picture it's very clear, you can see the fangs of the tiger, okay. White fangs in the sense the two long sharp teeth at the front of the tiger, okay. And what it's doing, it is terrorizing the village, okay, threatening the village. So the poet imagines that the tiger, in case if now we people are terrorizing the tiger in the zoo, but maybe if the tiger, if it is in its natural habitat, okay, we can't threaten the tiger. Instead of that, who will threaten us? The tiger, okay. In case if it is in natural habitat, okay, it will threaten us, isn't it? It's very common that we people, maybe you people, you will be like a tiger in your home, but at once when you enter the school, you'll behave like as if you are so good, so innocent, so calm, isn't it? So the very same way the poet perceives, okay, the condition of the tiger. Now the tiger is an object of show here inside the zoo, okay, but in case if it is in the natural habitat, okay, it will threaten the village people, it will threaten the human beings, okay. So he says that the tiger would be angrily moving around the houses in a nearby village, and maybe he would be growing, okay, he would be growling at the edge of the jungle by showing his white fangs and claws, okay. So here the poet also gives another hint that if we continue to destroy the forest and the natural habitat of the tigers, and what will happen, they will be forced to turn to our towns and villages to find their food. In newspapers we might have seen tiger entered the village and many atrocities about the tiger or elephant, isn't it? It's all because that we people destroy their natural habitat. We shouldn't do that. For our welfare, for our own pleasure, we should not destroy the forest, which is the natural habitat for the tiger, okay, dear students. So the entire poem is about a comparison between a tiger in the zoo and a tiger in its natural habitat. The first stanza is about a tiger in the zoo. I told you, though the tiger has its own anger, but it doesn't outshone it because it knows very well that it is helpless there, And in the second and third stanzas we saw about the tiger in its natural habitat, and there it's hiding and it's hunting and it's growling and it's snarling and it is threatening the people because it is in its natural habitat and it doesn't need anybody's help, isn't it? So that's what given here. Okay, in its natural habitat, okay, the tiger doesn't need anyone's help, isn't it? He only in its natural habitat the tiger displays his strength and ferociousness, but he doesn't harm anyone till he is provoked. Until we go nearby it and we provoke, okay, it won't create any harm to us, isn't it? Even in the cage, he ignores all those who come to the zoo to see him as an entertainment. Okay, like human beings, the tiger too loves and values freedom. Okay, freedom is not only meant for human beings, but it is also meant for tigers too. And one interesting thing I want to tell you is, in this year, especially in the 10th standard prescribed syllabus, many poems, many lessons, prose part, okay, it talks about freedom. But unexpectedly, we people are inside the home as if we are imprisoned, isn't it? So everything, there will be a change soon. Let's hope for the best. Okay, students, so you should go through the 3 stanzas. Okay, totally the poem consists of 5 stanzas and each is made up of 4 lines. Okay, and the rhyme scheme of this poem is ABCB. Okay, ABCB. Okay, and the poem has 2 distinct settings. I told you the first setting is that of the zoo and the second setting is that of the tiger in its natural habitat. And throughout the poem, the poet personified the tiger as he. He doesn't denote the tiger as it. He calls the tiger as he. So it is very clear that it is the personification. Okay, and pads of velvet. Okay, the pads, the tiger, I told you that the pads or the soft part of the tiger under the foot of the tiger, he compares that pads with velvet, so it is clear that it is metaphor. Okay, and in the third line of the first stanza, the metaphor is effectively used. Okay, and the 10th stone represents the hidden rage of the tiger. Okay, so go through the 3 stanzas and find out the poetic devices as well as frame answers for the question 1 and 2. Okay, you might have seen in the screen thinking about the poem. Okay, go through the question 1 and 2. Okay, and frame answers for this question and write it in your English note. Okay, dear students, as well as you should find the poetic devices too for this poem. Okay, yeah, frame answers for these questions. Once again, go through these 3 stanzas. Remaining 2 stanzas we'll see in the next class. Okay, and you should know about the poet too. Go through the biography of the poet Leslie Norris too. Okay, if you can collect the additional informations too. Okay, students, try to find answer on your own. Okay, we'll see the remaining 2 stanzas in the next class. Okay, thank you. Meet you in the next class, dear students. Until that, be safe, be alert in your home. Okay, thank you.